All right, so just going over these two problems, I tried to color code it. Anyway, so number one, I recognized that I had a triangle up top, so I added 45 and 63 together. That got me 72. I then noticed that I had vertical angles, so 72 is the same as 72. And then down here in the bottom right-hand corner, I realized that I have a linear pair, so 138 plus what is 180? And I got that that unknown was 42. And then I had 72 and 42 in that bottom triangle, so I added them together. I got 114, subtracted them from 180, and I got 66. And lastly, I noticed I had a linear pair, so 66 take away from 180 gave me 114. Now a little sneak peek into what we're doing today. The relationship that we just kind of saw of these two values equaling 114 and this value equaling 114, that relationship is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how if you have two opposite angles and an exterior angle, that they are going to be equal. For number two, I started off with vertical angles. So they are congruent, so the opposite angles are both 55. I already had a 55, so 55 plus 55 plus the unknown was 70. Once I saw that I had 70, I noticed that I had vertical angles, so those became 70 both. Over on the right, I had a linear pair. So 85 plus 95 is 180. And then lastly, I had a triangle of 70, unknown, 85. So therefore, my unknown was 25. So those are some of the problems that we did yesterday, and just as a little warm up for today. Now, the people that did their homework and didn't hand it in yet, did anybody have any questions from the homework from yesterday that you'd like to go over? All right, if you decide that you do have questions, let me know, and at the end of class, we can go over those specifically. All right, now what we're going to be working on next are going to be these problems here. Now, just like yesterday, I'm going to go over the odds with you guys. It's only the evens that will be for homework. Now, these first four, you may look at them and say, okay, I can answer them. I know what to do. I see I have a linear pair. So if this is 142, you can figure out what this angle is. And then if you know this angle and this angle, then you can figure out D. So there is a way to do this problem with the tools that we got yesterday. However, when we go to more complicated problems, we cannot rely on the tools that we have to solve these equations. So instead, we're going to talk about the relationship of what we're seeing. So we're going to start off with some of the easier problems so we can make sure that that relationship makes sense. So today, we're going to be talking about the exterior angle sum. There we go. All right, so what the exterior angle sum tells us is that if I have some triangle, we'll call it triangle A, B, C, and I have some exterior angle, the magical relationship that we can say is that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B will equal the exterior angle, the measure of angle 1. So let's test out this logic. Let's see why this is a thing. Now, if I create a triangle and I say that this angle measurement is, let's say, 40, and this angle measurement is 60. What I am claiming to be true is that this angle right here is also going to be the same as the sum of those two opposite angles. Now, why would this be true every time? Well, here's why. Right here, I have a linear pair. Now, if I were to add up 40 and 60, I get 100. By the definition of a triangle, the interior angles have to add up to 180. So if 100 angles are on the opposite side, that means that right in here has to be 80 degrees. Well, a linear pair is made up of two angles, the 80 degrees we just found and everything that's left over. So if this 1 degree exists, right outside of it is going to be the sum of the other two angles, because that linear pair has to be everything else that isn't 80 degrees. So every single time we can add these two angles together, and that will give us this exterior angle. Now, some of the problems may try to trick you up, and they give you some information and not everything. Meaning, if I said that this was 60 degrees, and this was 150 degrees, and we were trying to find the measure of angle B, well, I know that 60 plus the measure of angle B must be 150 degrees. So using that same equation, question? The comment is you could also figure out this angle here to get 30 by subtracting from 180. And then once you know that this is 60 and 30, then you can subtract that from 180 to get there. You are correct. And I get the same result by subtracting 60 and subtracting 60. So the measure of angle B is 90, as we would have gone it the other way. Another question? Just stretching. All right, so as some of you may have already completed, let's go ahead and take a look at 3 and at 5 and find that missing degree mark. So here we're looking for angle D. Down here, we're looking for angle S. I would recommend just practicing using the formula. So for number 3, you want the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle E is going to be equal to 142 degrees. For number 5, we're going to have the measure of angle S plus the measure of angle R is going to equal 150 degrees. So fill in the information you know, subtract it from what it equals, and that should find your missing degree. All right, so to finish off 3 and 5, I don't know this, I know this, I know that. And so the missing degree mark would be 86 degrees. And then this one here, I know the measure of angle R. And so X would equal 24. All right, so 4 and 6 will be 2 questions on your homework. You'll see they're very, very similar. Now for the more challenging ones. So what to do with the algebra side of things? All right, so with 7 and 9, we're going to use the same formula that we were using before. You want to find the opposite angles, add them together. The exterior angle, you set it equal to. All right, so just so that you can recognize which are which, the angles that are inside the triangle and are opposite that exterior angle, those are our opposite angles. Those we want to add together. Hey guys, I highly recommend that we are listening to this so that we know how to do the problems. And then the other angle is our outside angle. So 17x plus 2 plus 12x plus 2 is going to be the same thing as 120 degrees. Every time you do these problems, you want to find those opposite angles, add them together, and set them equal to that outside angle. And so to finish this problem off, you want to combine like terms. Combine constants and set it equal to 120. From there, you can solve. And then for number 9, those two are my opposite angles. That's the outside angle. So I'm adding these together and setting it equal to 8x plus 2. Okay. And so for this second one, it's still the same idea. You want to add the opposite angles and set it equal to the outside angle. All right, so to polish off these problems, I'm getting x equals 4 for number 7. And then here, I'm getting 4x plus 34 is equal to 8x plus 2. I'll move the 4x to the right, the 2 to the left. 4x equals 32. Divide by 4. And x equals 8. And now for the last two, you're doing the same exact thing as before, but now instead of solving for x, they want to find the angle measurement. So for number 11, it's finding the measure of angle F. So once we solve for x, I'd be plugging x back in to know what angle measurement F is. So same process, I'm going to take those two inside angles, add them together. And set it equal to that outside angle. 10x minus 3 equals 107. Add 3, 10x would equal to 110. Divide by 10, x is 11. Now that's where we stopped in the previous problems. For this one, we want to go a step further and say, all right, if x equaled 11, what does this now equal? And so I'm going to plug 11 back in, and I have 5 times 11 is 55. Minus 11 gives me that the measure of angle F is 44 degrees. Now with 13, same thing. You add these two angles together, set it equal to this outside angle. just to remind you what the angle NFG is the N and the G are the outside points, and F is going to be the angle. So I'm going to start at N, go to F, and then go to G. So the 11x minus 5 is the goal for the problem. So I'm going to take my 3x plus 11. I'm going to add to it 72 and set it equal to 11x minus 5. Use my algebra skills. 3x plus 83 equals 11x minus 5. Subtract 3x from both sides. Add 5 to both sides. 88 equals 8x. Divide by 8. And x would equal 11. And again, I am solving for angle NFG. So the measure of angle NFG is going to be 11 times 11 minus 5, or 121 minus 5, which will be 116 degrees. Your homework tonight is going to be the evens. Now we have a good chunk of time, so I am going to stop this recording and just kind of circulate to see if anyone has any questions with setting up their equations or solving them or just getting that final answer.